Unlike today, when we instinctively orient ourselves northward for maps, navigation, and even our mental image of the globe, the ancient world faced a different direction. In antiquity, Polaris, the North Star, had not yet aligned with the celestial pole, and with the magnetic compass still unknown, north held no particular significance in spatial orientation. In biblical times, it was the east, not the north, that defined geography. The very word orient comes from Latin oriens, meaning rising, a reference to the sunrise and the direction of the east. There was one notable exception: Egypt. There, orientation often pointed south, aligned with the flow of the Nile. For Egyptians, south was upstream, a direction associated with origins, power, and divinity. This contrast helps clarify a verse found in Exodus 27, where the Bible appears to repeat itself when it reads, "Verochav hechatzer lif'at kedma mizracha 50 amah." Here, the directional phrase for the tabernacle court specifies kedma mizracha, literally eastward, eastward. Though often translated simply as facing east, the repetition is deliberate. In the Egyptian worldview, kedem, front, could indicate the south, aligned with the Nile's sacred upstream. By adding mizracha, east, the Bible removes ambiguity. It affirms that kedem refers to the east, not the south, as the Israelites might have assumed after generations of bondage in Egypt. Biblical Hebrew uses several distinct sets of directional terms, each rooted in a different frame of reference. The first set of directional terms is tied to the sun's movement. The east is Mizrach, the place of rising. Mimizrach shemesh ad mevo'o, mehulal shem Hashem. Another term, motza, meaning emergence, also signifies the east. Psalm 75:7 declares, "Ki lo mimotza umimarav velo mimidbar harim." Here, mimotza captures the east as a source of emergence or arising. The verse reminds us that true attainment in life comes from God's blessing alone. The west is ma'arav, from the root it shares with Akkadian eribu, to enter or to sit, similar to erev, the Hebrew word for evening. Ma'arav is where the sun disappears, where the day concludes. Isaiah 45:6 proclaims, "Leman yed'u mimizrach shemesh umima'arava, ki efes biladai, ani Hashem ve'ein od." This sweeping declaration uses directionality to reinforce divine sovereignty across all space and time. Similarly, the term darom, south, which appears mostly in the books of Ezekiel and Ecclesiastes, is sometimes understood as deriving from dar rom, literally meaning abides in the height, reflecting the sun's position in the south when it reaches its peak. Ben Adam, sim panecha derech teimana, vehatef el darom, vehinnave el ya'ar hasadeh Negev. Regarding the word tzafon, or north, the medieval commentator Rabbi David Kimchi, Radak, explains that it derives from tzafun, hidden. Since the sun arches towards the south, the northern sky appears hidden from its rays. Some modern scholars, however, believe the word originates from the name of a place, as we shall soon see. Orientation in the Bible is also embodied. When one faces east, kedem, the body becomes a compass. East is front, kedem. West is behind, achor. North is to the left, smol. And south is to the right, yemin. This lived spatial awareness is captured in the book of Job. In his existential angst, Job searches for God in all directions, to no avail. Hen kedem ahalech ve'einenu, ve'achor ve'lo avin lo, smol ba'asoto ve'lo achez, ya'atof yemin ve'lo er'eh. A more explicit geographical reference appears in Genesis 14, where Abraham intervenes in the battle against the four kings to rescue his kidnapped nephew Lot. The Hebrew text states that Abraham pursued the kings as far as Chovah, which is mismol, to the left, that is, to the north of Damascus. Vayirdefem ad Chovah, asher mismol leDamasek. A third set of directional terms is derived from the biblical land itself, highlighting the strong bond between the Hebrew language and its land of origin. The west is Yam, literally sea, referring to the Mediterranean. Numbers 34:6 states, Ugvul yam v'haya lechem hayam hagadol, ugvul ze yihye lechem gvul yam. The south is Negev, from a root meaning dry, referring to the arid desert stretching beyond Judah. This is reflected in Numbers 34, which outlines the southern border of the land of Canaan. V'nasav lachem hagvul minegev lema'ale akrabim ve'avar tzina. Regarding the north, Tzafon, as mentioned earlier, some scholars believe it is a geographic term derived from a location venerated by the ancient Canaanites. The term appears frequently in the Ugaritic texts as Tzafanu. These texts, discovered in Ugarit and Ras Ibn Hani in Syria in 1928, are written in Ugaritic, a Northwest Semitic language related to Hebrew, but written in cuneiform. In the Ugaritic worldview, Tzafanu was the mountain of the gods, akin to Mount Olympus in Greek mythology. Modern scholars identify Tzafanu, the mountain of the north, with Jabal al-Aqra on the Syrian-Turkish border. This ancient mountain also sheds light on the biblical place name Baal Tzafon, mentioned in Exodus 14 and Numbers 33, a site likely dedicated to the same deity worshipped on Mount Tzafanu, Baal of the north. Isaiah may also reference this mythical geography as Yarketei Tzafon, the far north, in his prophecy about the downfall of the king of Babylon. ואתה אמרת בלבבך, השמיים אעלה, ממעל לכוכבי אל ארים כסאי, ואשב בהר מועד, בירכתי צפון. Remarkably, the very same term, Yarketei Tzafon, the far north, appears in Psalm 48 to describe the Temple Mount, situated in the northernmost part of biblical Jerusalem. This parallel theme underscores the world's inherent contrasts, what might be called the law of opposites, as reflected in Ecclesiastes. Gam et ze le'omat ze asa ha'elokim. Psalm 48 celebrates the true north, not the pagan mountain of the gods, but the holy mountain of the one and only God. Gadol Hashem umhulal me'od, me'ir Elokeinu, har kodsho, yefe nof, misos kol haaretz, har Tzion, Yarketei Tzafon, Kiryat Melech Rav. Here, Tzafon transforms from a distant region to the sacred center, from a mountain of imaginary make-believe Canaanite deities to a reality where heaven and earth meet.